Imagine a man who rose from a bus driver to become the heir of a revolution, ruling over one of the world's most oil-rich nations while millions of his people flee in desperation. Nicolás Maduro's story isn't just about politics. It's about survival, controversy, and clinging to power through economic collapse, international isolation, and accusations of dictatorship. His voice has echoed from Caracas to the United Nations, defending socialism while surrounded by allegations of corruption and human rights abuses. But beyond the military parades and defiant speeches, who really is Nicolás Maduro? How did he amass hidden wealth while his country starved? Where does he live? And what luxuries does a socialist leader accused of destroying Venezuela allow himself? Today, we uncover the financial shadows and extraordinary life of a leader whose regime has become synonymous with one of the greatest economic disasters in modern history. As of 2025, Nicolás Maduro's official net worth is virtually impossible to verify due to Venezuela's complete lack of financial transparency. Official government records claim he earns a modest salary equivalent to a few $100s per month. Laughable given Venezuela's hyperinflation and economic collapse. However, investigations by international journalists, leaked documents, and intelligence reports paint a radically different picture. Estimates suggest Maduro's personal fortune, hidden through family members, proxies, and offshore accounts, could range anywhere from $2 billion to possibly higher. But how does a bus driver turned revolutionary become a billionaire while his country faces the worst humanitarian crisis in the Western Hemisphere? The answer lies in systematic corruption, control of state resources, and what critics call the Bolivarian mafia. Maduro doesn't need visible wealth when he controls Venezuela's vast oil reserves, gold mines, and every lever of economic power. His regime's inner circle, including military generals, family members, and trusted operatives, has been accused of profiting from drug trafficking, illegal gold mining, food distribution monopolies, and currency manipulation schemes. The U.S. Treasury has sanctioned dozens of Venezuelan officials for corruption and narcotics trafficking, including members of Maduro's own cabinet. Maduro's family has been directly implicated. His stepsons, known as Los Chamos, the boys, were arrested in Haiti in 2015 for attempting to smuggle 800 kilograms of cocaine into the United States. His wife, Celia Flores, comes from a powerful political family with extensive business interests. Her nephews were convicted in U.S. courts for drug trafficking conspiracies involving tons of cocaine. Beyond narcotics, Maduro's government controls Venezuela's food distribution through the CLAP program, a system critics say enriches regime loyalists while keeping hungry Venezuelans dependent on government handouts. The regime also profits from illegal gold mining in the Arco Minero region, where environmental destruction and human rights abuses fund what some call a criminal enterprise disguised as a government. Leaked financial documents have revealed that Maduro's associates maintain luxury properties in Spain, Panama, and the Dominican Republic. Shell companies registered in tax havens hold millions in assets. Swiss bank accounts, real estate portfolios, and investments in Caribbean resorts all point to a fortune built on Venezuela's misery. While everyday Venezuelans dig through garbage for food and teachers earn $5 per month, Maduro's inner circle lives in extraordinary luxury, a contrast so stark it's become a symbol of socialist hypocrisy. Born on November 23, 1962, in Caracas, Nicolás Maduro Moros grew up in a working-class neighborhood in western Caracas. His father was a union leader, and his mother worked in the informal economy. Unlike many Latin American leaders who came from privilege or military backgrounds, Maduro's origins were genuinely humble. As a teenager, Maduro became politically active in leftist movements. He joined the Socialist League, a radical Marxist organization, and became involved in student protests and labor organizing. His education was limited. He never finished university, instead becoming a bus driver for the Caracas metro system in his early 20s. But his life changed completely in the 1990s when he met Hugo Chavez. Chavez, a charismatic former military officer, was building a revolutionary movement to overthrow Venezuela's traditional political elite. Maduro became one of Chavez's earliest and most loyal supporters, helping organize the movement that would eventually bring Chavez to power in 1999. Maduro's rise was entirely dependent on his relationship with Chavez. He wasn't a military man, an intellectual, or a particularly gifted orator. What he had was absolute loyalty, a quality Chavez valued above all else. This loyalty would carry Maduro from the streets to the presidential palace. After Chavez won the presidency in 1999, Maduro's political career accelerated. He served in the National Assembly, then as Speaker. In 2006, Chavez appointed him Foreign Minister, a position he held for 6 years. As Foreign Minister, Maduro traveled the world promoting Chavez's Bolivarian Revolution and building alliances with countries hostile to the United States: Cuba, Iran, Russia, Syria, and Belarus. Maduro wasn't known for diplomatic brilliance. His speeches were often rambling and filled with conspiracy theories, but he was a faithful messenger of Chavez's ideology and maintained the international alliances that would later prove crucial to his own survival. In 2012, everything changed. Hugo Chavez, who had ruled Venezuela for 14 years, revealed he was dying of cancer. In a televised address, Chavez named Maduro as his chosen successor, a stunning decision that shocked even Chavez's inner circle. Many expected Chavez to choose Diosdado Cabello, a powerful military figure, or another charismatic leader. Instead, he chose the former bus driver. Chavez died on March 5, 2013. Maduro immediately assumed the presidency and called elections for April 2013. He won, but just barely, by less than 2% against opposition candidate Enrique Capriles. The opposition claimed fraud, and international observers raised concerns about irregularities. But Maduro had the military's support and control of state institutions. He wasn't going anywhere. From the beginning, Maduro lacked Chavez's charisma, political skills, and popular legitimacy. Where Chavez was a master communicator who connected emotionally with Venezuela's poor, Maduro was stiff, awkward, and unconvincing. Venezuelans began calling him Maduro the bus driver, with contempt rather than affection. But the real crisis was economic. Years of socialist policies, massive corruption, and falling oil prices created a perfect storm. By 2014, Venezuela's economy began collapsing. Inflation spiraled into hyperinflation, reaching over 1 million% by 2018. Food shortages became widespread. Hospitals ran out of medicine. Crime exploded. Millions of Venezuelans began fleeing the country in what became one of the largest refugee crises in world history. Maduro's response was repression. When protests erupted in 2014 and 2017, his security forces killed hundreds of demonstrators. Political opponents were jailed. The Supreme Court was packed with loyalists. When the opposition won control of the National Assembly in 2015, Maduro simply created a new legislature, the Constituent Assembly, and stripped the real parliament of all power. In 2018, Maduro held presidential elections that were widely condemned as fraudulent. The main opposition candidates were banned, jailed, or in exile. Turnout was historically low. International observers called it a sham, but Maduro declared victory and began his second term. In January 2019, the crisis reached a breaking point. Juan Guaidó, president of the National Assembly, declared himself interim president, citing constitutional provisions. Over 60 countries, including the United States and most of Latin America and Europe, recognized Guaidó as Venezuela's legitimate leader. Maduro suddenly had a rival president with international backing. But Maduro survived. He maintained control of the military, the police, and the state oil company PDVSA. With support from Russia, China, Cuba, Iran, and Turkey, he weathered the storm. Guaidó's challenge eventually fizzled, undermined by internal opposition divisions and Maduro's ruthless grip on power. By 2025, Maduro remains in power, though his country is a shell of what it once was. Over 7 million Venezuelans, nearly 25% of the population, have fled. GDP has collapsed by over 80%. What was once Latin America's richest country is now its poorest. Yet Maduro clings to power, supported by military force, foreign allies, and a shrinking base of loyalists who benefit from the regime's corruption. Nicolás Maduro's primary residence is the Palacio de Miraflores in Caracas, the official presidential palace. This historic building, dating to the 19th century, features neoclassical architecture, grand courtyards, and elaborately decorated staterooms. It's both Maduro's residence and the seat of Venezuelan government power. But Miraflores is just the beginning. Maduro and his wife Celia Flores reportedly maintain several properties, though exact details are state secrets. Intelligence reports suggest they own or control